This is A to Z, episode 105.
Today's guest is Brian Muldrow of Muldrow Bee Farms and the Southeast Texas Beekeepers Association.
It's like their host, Zach.
Hello.
Welcome to A to Z Podcast, where we sit down with the folks that make Southeast Texas a better place to live.
Thanks for checking us out. If you're new to this show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter.
Everywhere.
We're everywhere.
We out here.
And we can also, we take text messages if you want to text us at 409-206-2971. That's 409-206-2971. We love text. We take voicemails too. We don't answer this phone. We just check it every now and then. So if you want to send us some love, our hate,
it's just a fun way for you guys to interact with us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, we also want to apologize for the infrequency of our episodes lately because life is crazy right now.
It really is. Between everything, between pandemics, quarantines, social injustice riots in the streets, everything, our work schedules are just a little bit weird and everything's just kind of weird. So we do want to apologize that you guys aren't getting as many episodes as you used to. And that's like we have an action, call out to you guys listening. If you guys want us to upload more frequently, please give us some suggestions. You got somebody you think should come on? Text that number. What's that number?
409-206-2971.
Be like, yo, guys, my grandma, she's from World War I, and she's the last person living, and I want to talk to that woman. I have no idea. It could be anything or anybody. I don't know. Whatever you guys want to listen to, just, give us a shout.
Yeah, but today we're going to be talking to Brian Muldrow. I've met Brian a long time ago whenever I was working sound at the Log-On.
That's right. He's been over there for a long time, talking bees, talking beekeeping with those guys.
He's been keeping bees for over 50 years.
He's been in our community for a long time, helping others keep bees, really teaching people and just supporting, not just our community, but the bee community. And we get into a lot of stuff in this, a lot of science, a lot of biology, really what makes bees tick. Our brains got blown a bunch of times.
Consistently throughout the entire episode, I am screaming obscenities because I'm so excited about the newfound knowledge that I have. We also learned about local pollinators, native pollinators, and things beyond bees, how bee homes are made. Yeah, all kinds of different cool things.
How
this
they
is really
affect
fun.
our farming community.
Yeah, this is a really fun episode.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, enjoy this episode with Brian Muldrow. We started trying to do some live stuff,
and then
I
don't think so.
It's not as fun, and it makes the guest nervous.
Does it really?
It just doesn't seem.
Yeah, well, not everyone's been on the radio. Not everyone has that.
It doesn't feel natural to them.
Yeah,
I see.
And you're kind of you seem like you're kind of a natural spokesman anyway.
I teach a lot, so I'm laid
lot,
back a little bit, so that helps too. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, welcome to the show. Oh my goodness,
Brian.
Oh my God!
That's why we don't do live, right?
I know.
That's why we don't do live.
I have been talking to so many people in the last 24 hours that all the names are getting jumbled. Brian.
That's okay.
Brian Muldrow?
Yes, Muldrow.
Brian
and
Muldrow.
This is you. Muldrow Bee Farms is your thing.
Yeah, it is.
And guess what? It's springtime.
It's springtime.
It is. Thank God. Finally.
Finally. The flowers are blooming. The pollen's in the air, and that's affecting a lot of people very negatively, but it's affecting you in a good way, right?
Well, it affects them in a good way, too. They just don't like it because the pollen is going to make them irritated, but they're going to develop that immunity with local honey.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing. I'm glad that we're just jumping right into it. I would love for you to explain that to me. I've heard this all my life.
I thought it was a fluke.
It's not.
I've heard it
real?
all my life that they say if you want to reduce your seasonal allergies, get some local honey, and it will do that. And I don't know how that works.
Well, it's exactly like the typical medicine, and we actually, the bees started it millions of years ago, and as humans, we're catching up.
Okay, yeah.
But you're taking a microdose of that pollen when you take a tablespoon of honey.
Okay.
Because in honey, it has all of the nectar and all the pollen from all the flowers they've collected from. So if you're allergic to ragweed, which a lot of people are in the area, if you're taking that local honey in, you're taking that microdose of that pollen and you're building your own immunity to it.
So if we live in Austin and I had a cedar allergy, right?
That's exactly correct.
And I eat that local honey that is like a cedar clover
honey. It actually has cedar. It actually has cedar pollen in that honey. And that's why I can't sell you local honey to Austin. Because the mountain cedar is not going to do you any good.
It still tastes good.
It tastes good to eat, no doubt.
But it just doesn't do anything for you.
It won't help your allergies at all, though.
Okay.
So it's good on a biscuit anywhere.
I'm just always... it is good on a biscuit. It is good on a biscuit anywhere. That's true. Man, It's so crazy. It's honestly, honey and bees are such a vast thing, and the information or the accessibility of the information is so low, right? I've wondered that for years. I never really understood it. Right. And then the industry of honey is kind of it's like behind closed doors. No one really talks about it. And you go to Walmart and you get honey, and it might just be like high fructose corn syrup.
That's exactly what you're going to buy at
honey
Walmart.
Or
what, really?
Or it's flavored.
So cheap honey is cheap. It's corn syrup.
Basically, that's correct.
Yeah.
Oh my!
If it's not corn syrup, it's imported from China or somewhere where they sell it for 40 cents a pound. And that's why they
great
import
value honey is not honey.
That's correct.
A lot of times it's not, but I don't know. The way I understand it is that the industry is kind of like regulated in a way that you can kind of like call it honey and it not be honey, and then you could call this and that. So the only real way to get like real honey is buy from somebody local, someone that
know
you know.
your beekeeper.
Yeah,
that's the rules. Know your beekeeper. Know your keeper.
I'm guessing y'all are at the farmer's market, right?
We are. We don't do the Beaumont Farmers Market because one of our good friends, Bob Berry, is a local keeper also.
So you let him take that.
And he has that spot. We try really hard. The people that are in our groups that we know and have worked with and talked to, we don't compete with them.
Because you also run the Beekeepers Association, so you've been pretty monumental or like a figure in bringing all the beekeepers together in this area.
We started with, it was funny, when Tammy first wanted to get into that, she was looking for a beekeepers group. And they were all gone. They were all dead. They all got in arguments about money or who was in charge or whatever.
Yeah.
So Mike Martin and I and Daryl Marchand started that Southeast Texas local beekeepers at the Log On Now. And we now got over 600 members.
Wow.
That's correct.
There's 600 beekeepers in Southeast Texas?
There's probably closer to 3,000 because off of our group, we've started Tyler County, we've started St. Augustine, we've started Kirbyville, we've started Orange County, we started.
So you guys are like kind of by county basis.
We are.
So that's like ultra local.
But
yeah,
it's
you
very
guys
much,
are at a very like micro
anything
level.
south of about Woodville, maybe a little bit north of Woodville, everything south has the same floral band.
Sure.
So if I'm in Orange County, I can sell you the same honey you're going to buy in Liberty County because the flowers are all the same.
So let me guess, it's at certain times of the year, it's mainly tallow sometimes?
Tallow is our largest producer of nectar.
And then sometimes it's clover?
Clover starts us off. We're in clover right now.
We're in clover. And then is sometimes it alfalfa grass?
No, we don't have alfalfa, but you do have a lot of grasses. Typically, the average jar of honey is about 60% grass.
Okay. Wait. Okay, hold on.
Okay. All right, here we go.
So we start you go through phases of what the honey's. So does it change the taste as the season goes on?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. I don't know where to
if you isolate, if you go to your hive and they've got 3 frames of honey that's produced before the middle of March, that's going to be clover honey. You can actually pull that off
and say it's branded as such.
It is, and have it tested and branded as such.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's different times. So you got to think you have spring, summer, fall.
Yeah.
And you know
they grow at different times of the year.
Yeah, they grow. They bloom at different times. Really, what it is. It's,
What is tallow?
Tallow is a Chinese tree, Chinese tallow tree. And it's funny because for everybody here,
it's a weed of a tree.
For everybody here, it's a trash tree. But for us, it's a great producer. It produces the most nectar of anything we have in our area.
Wow.
It makes a blossom that almost kind of looks like a crappy little dogwood blossom. I don't know.
It's a tassel.
Oh,
it has a real long green tassel and has a bright green leaf.
Well, I set my pepper plants out to harden them in the sun today, and I saw a bunch of yellow specks, and I was like, oh no, the sun's burning them. And then I looked close, and it was like pollen. Yeah. And it's all over my truck, and I guess you're just having a great day.
Well, that's pine tree today.
Yeah.
You're having all that blow.
And that's is there pine tree honey?
No, the bees don't really pick any. They don't use that nectar at all.
Because
it's an acidic. It's a very acidic pollen. They'll use the resins and things like that to build propolis and other parts that they use in their hive, but they don't use the pine tree to generate much nectar.
Wow.
Pine trees are very
Do you have a
unusual.
degree in this? Like, well, how did you get into this?
I got my first hive when I was 6.
What? You were 6 years old?
Yeah, my grandfather and my dad were both beekeepers.
And
Wow. So you're third generation.
yeah,
Third
and my son
generation bee
Joshua,
farmer.
who you'll get to meet,
And
is
your-
the fourth generation.
And your granddad and your dad were like, you know what? It's time for Brian to get stung a bunch.
well, no, I think it was more like
It's time for
we need
Brian to
somebody
get
to do some
stung.
work. We're old and tired. We need some young kids to come and do the picking up for us.
Wow. So was it Muldrow Bee Farm, or was it just this is your thing?
Well, the Muldrow Bee Farm is our logo. My dad's company was Muldrow and Associates.
Wow.
And we were out in West Texas.
Yeah.
And we ran everything from Van Horn to Abilene all the way up to Oklahoma. We had a
wow.
huge area.
Wow.
When my dad started, he had
Is that all similar? Same band there and that West
It's very
Texas?
similar.
It's arid.
The differences there are that it's very easy to isolate the pollens there because mesquite
great
only has about a 30-day bloom. So you can put supers on and get just mesquite honey, which is incredible.
So
honey.
you can basically you
never
come
had
in with a
mesquite
truck
honey.
full of bees, you place them in a mesquite forest, and then that's how you get your mesquite honey.
That's
for the
correct.
That's so
What's that?
crazy.
I've never had mesquite honey. What's
It
that
is.
taste
It's
like?
almost as clear as water, but it will knock you on your knees.
Really?
It's so sharp.
Like an agave.
It's
honey
like, you
or
know how
something,
you ever take powdered sugar and you kind of inhale a little bit? And you
Yeah.
start,
Oh, yeah.
That's how sweet it is. It makes you.
Wow.
It'll take your breath away. It is
That's
incredible.
so
But it's hard to get pure mesquite. And today they call it acacia. So that way
Yeah.
they can blend the cactuses and all
Right,
the
right, right.
other desert
Okay.
flowers into that category.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you probably need to kind of thin that mesquite out. Though, and that mesquite be hitting.
It does. It
Just hit a little
hurt.
different.
It's
Yeah.
pretty stout stuff.
Yeah,
But it's
wow.
great flavor, but it's very strong.
So third generation beekeeper, they gave you a beehive at 6. How do you get used to the stings?
You don't. It hurts every time.
You do build an immunity, though.
Well, you can. You either get
Yeah.
better or worse
You
or
also
stay
know
the
how
same.
to, you know how to handle it too, so you don't get
well,
stung as much.
Yeah, at 10 years old, you run through the yard screaming, like any 10-year-old would do, But at my age, I'll take a couple hundred stings a week, and it doesn't bother me much
Are
at
you
all.
serious?
Oh, yeah.
A couple hundred?
Oh, yeah, they've offered to take my blood and do testing. Well, all kinds of crazy things you can do as a big because of the reaction of the venom and how your body handles it and what they do. And
Have you ever been attacked? Like not just by individuals, but like a hive?
You mean like an
a
Africanized,
frenzy or something? Like
hive
what
or
do they call that?
I've worked Africanized bees in Honduras and Nicaragua both, and they're nothing to play with.
No.
They will. And the reason why they're
They're
that
just
way,
aggressive, right?
well, they're not really aggressive. What happens is that because they grew up in Africa, they're not trying to take a raccoon out at 35 pounds. They're trying to take out a rhinoceros.
Yeah, right.
And so through evolution, they've
They
learned
have to be badass.
they have
Well, they have
to
to-
attack in mass.
Yeah, they have to attack
to drive out a
together.
larger mass
wow.
animal.
Okay.
That's
And
why
so-
we were kids, and it came up on the news.
Oh, yeah.
Because they came up from Mexico, and it became such a thing because they would instead of
Swarm.
a kid getting 4
Yeah,
bee
4
stings,
stings, yeah, you take
he would get
400
like 200
or 500 or 1,000.
Because they
or-
have to attack. They have to
Because
push
they've
away
learned
Because
to
they're in
attack in
unison.
mass.
Yeah, they're in unison.
Wow.
And,
They're essentially not very different from.
That's the exact same venom,
European,
exact same
yeah.
strain.
But their aggression and their response is due
Their
to
response
bigger threats.
Their response is
Is more in unison, yeah.
is
It's a little overdone.
well, if you're a rhinoceros, it's not.
No.
yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
You'll
but
be
if you're
fine
but if you're a beekeeper, 6,000 stings will take you out.
Have you
Yeah.
ever had anything like that happen to you?
I've had 500 or 600 at a time.
Wow.
Jeez,
You had to go to the
Louise.
hospital, right?
No, I
You just ran a
I
fever?
Finished,
Sit it out.
finished the work and took some vitamin C and went back to work.
Wow. I'll tell you one thing. This is a little off topic, but I still remember a
would
movie
be
from when
a
I was
mess.
a kid that like scarred me. There was a movie with Macaulay Culkin called The Good Son,
Yes.
Yeah.
and he killed somebody by like putting a whole hive of bees in a dark room where
I thought
somebody
that was My Girl.
No, the two similar
They're kinda
things.
similar.
He
Yeah.
did a lot
yeah.
of bee movies. That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he killed a guy with bees, and it freaked me out because I was like scared of bees for a really long
Right,
time.
right.
After that, it was horrifying.
And it's the reason why bees can do that is because the stinger has a pheromone, a smell, and so bee number 2 knows where you got stung
So
at.
there's the target.
And
attack.
and so B3 and
Really?
B4 and B5.
And they do the dance and leave the trails to coordinate navigation. So they're already doing that anyway.
well, the
right?
navigation is for food stores. It's not for stinging.
but it's a similar kind of function, I guess you could say.
it can be
the pheromone thing.
The dance is not really a pheromone. That's actually a visual
Directed map.
It's going
map.
like,
It really is.
it's like, hey, brother,
yeah,
I
I wish
this
there
way.
was a way that we could show you what the bee sees, but there's no possible way. But
they see an ultraviolet light, so it'd be
Yeah.
difficult for us
so
to
you
see.
could
'cause
see
we
like
don't-
you would
yeah.
see. That's just so cool to me. Wow.
Yeah.
There's an interesting thing too, because I used to be all about like this save the bee thing, and then as I've read it and done all this other stuff,
Bees are fine.
I'm very conflicted in my thoughts now, and you might could clear this up for me too, is I used to always say that, like, the bees are our pollinators. We need to save them, save the crops, all this stuff, environmental. But then I really thought about it, and I was like, well, European honey bees aren't from North America, so
they're not from here at all.
Maybe they're out competing native pollinators. I don't know. It's so strange. I don't know how to think anymore about this because
like bringing bees in to replace our lost bees.
Well, I can give you some ideas there, and again, it goes back to the concepts that we deal with as people. First of all, I do want to say that Beaumont is one of the bee cities of USA.
What does that mean, though?
Well, it takes special programs and special ideas, and we do all kinds of things in the city that were nationally recognized that let us do that. And as a result of that, we really have started doing that. But it's kind of a neat thing. We're like number 60, 77, or 78 in the United States.
Okay,
to be recognized as a bee city. So that was really important for us. But if you think about 1600 in Texas, okay, we didn't have squash, we didn't have corn, we didn't have sweet peas.
That's true. Yeah.
None of that was here.
No.
So those items that we brought with us as settlers don't have a pollinator.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And that's what happened. If you look at a town like Schulenburg, settled by the early Germans in 1670s, 1700s.
Right.
They brought those crops because they like to eat squash and okra and the things that they eat today. And they go, we planted them, but I only got 6 instead of 600.
Yeah.
So then they called their friends in Virginia and brought bees to pollinate their crops that they wanted to eat.
Because the bees and the squash know each other.
That's correct.
They're like, hey, this is my old friend Squash.
Exactly. Wow. And they recognize the flavors. They recognize
because it would probably take years for local bees to pollinate.
We don't have any local bees.
No,
there were not any bees here.
We have local pollinators, which are like beetles.
We have pollinators.
We didn't have any bees?
There are no honeybees in Texas originally. No, that's correct.
So they're not a native species to it?
At all.
That is
completely not.
Can you imagine Texas with no bees?
In the United States, there were not any bees.
North America.
No way.
Yeah, no.
Really? North America.
No, that's correct.
Yeah.
Honey is a European, African, India, Russia culture. Yes. That's how, and we've moved them. And it's funny because we talk about we moved bananas, to America. Well, we moved bees to America because we wanted those crops.
Wow!
And so, in some sense, we're not replacing pollinators,
right?
Because we brought the plant and we brought the pollinator.
We've just added pollinators because we've added plants.
But the truth is, though, is that we took out something to plant our crops, and those pollinators no longer have a food source.
Yeah, but that's the quandary, though, is like, what's the value of the plant that we've replaced?
And that's one of the things that the Bee City addresses, because we actually work very hard at teaching people how to plant natural habitats to reattract monarch butterflies and all the things that,
so y'all
that
also
are going
help
away.
out the pollinators that bees replace.
Yes.
Y'all are almost doing what like government should do for gentrification, but for bees.
Yes, that's correct. Exactly.
Holy shit, that is so cool.
But it's a neat program.
That is so cool.
One of the things that we're trying to do, and since we're doing a podcast here, I mean, you try to look at a church and pick a church that you know of. They've got 60 acres, 80 acres.
They're just amongst their congregation.
And it just belongs to the congregation.
Right.
And they've got 15 acres of parking lot, and they got 2 acres of building, and the other 40 acres just sitting there being mowed every week. Where if they were to take and start planting a natural garden for natural pollinators, we could then use that green space to help thrive our natural insects like the beetles and the butterflies and the moths and all the things that are truly struggling today because they have been replaced.
Yeah.
You look at a downtown Beaumont, or not downtown, but look at a neighborhood in Beaumont. You don't
suburbia.
see native plants.
No.
I like red, so I'm going to plant all red.
I live in the West End, and whenever it rains, I walk down the sidewalks, and you can see the chemicals from their yards dripping onto the sidewalks, and it makes me furious.
It's terrible.
It makes me furious.
And so part of what Bee City is trying to do is we're trying to teach, if you've got a grassed area, I mean, I live at Park and MLK. I'd love to take those hills and that grass and plant native spot gardens.
Make it look nice.
And it would be beautiful, right?
You know what's funny is...
And get a garden club to help maintain it or hire a couple of landscape crews. I mean, they spend thousands of dollars every month mowing those hills.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you could build some beautiful landscape places.
You have to maintain it once a year, maybe.
Right.
Do you weed it once or twice a year?
Just because it grow that way.
Yeah. Right, because it's natural. It's a natural Texas habitat.
When you look at suburbia and you see that they've completely manufactured what they want based on what they got from Lowe's.
Right.
You literally like you turn your head over here and you look in the ditch, and in the ditch there's palmettos growing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or wild onions or something.
Or wild onions and some tubers.
I love
like,
walking around Beaumont
that's
and people cut the grass and you can smell the wild onions. It's a good smell.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Been
it
mowed.
is, yeah.
Right. And then you go back to Lowe's to replace those plants, and the tag says this plant has been treated with neonicotinoids to help it survive. Well, that pollen kills the bees.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
So these plants that they're putting there to make everything look pretty is killing our bee populations.
That's correct.
And it's also wasting
and whatever
taxpayer
pollinators
money.
that there are. Right.
So we would save money and also help out local pollinators and the bee population in turn.
And it would be better than grass.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be able to have butterfly brush and all kinds of natural
and we're already like a
stuff.
And think about this. We're a migratory path for
We're a
birds.
hub for birds,
That would be food for the birds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we would have more pollinators, local pollinators that they could eat.
Right.
Holy man.
Yeah, and
The bees, man.
So here's another thing I need clarification on too.
They're moving into America and making things better. Like, look at
I'm a big question guy, but
That's okay.
I was reading about Paul Stamets, who's a mycologist, right? So he's a fungus doctor, and his new thing, what he's in on now, is he's actually
Is that the bee medicine that he was talking about?
He's in on this bee medicine
I gotta
thing.
get a beer. Hold on.
So he's in on this bee medicine thing, right? Where so apparently bees have had this symbiotic relationship with different types of mushrooms and fungus
That's correct.
for millions of years,
Oh, yes.
and for the same reason that as humans, we like the majority of our medicines are made out of fungus.
That's correct.
And all of the crazy compounds. They have bees unintentionally do the same thing, and they'll build their hives next to like say like a honey mushroom or something like that. And what he's doing is he's trying to replace that, because as we talk about the decimation of natural habitats, we're also talking about the decimation of natural fungi as well.
Right.
And is that something you guys talk about too? Because I don't know much about
Brad's
it.
a fun guy.
I'm super interested in that. You know, it's
I don't know much about mushrooms at all, to be honest with you. You know, the
it's not
bees
vegetation.
live in a typical American hive. Their box inside is cleaner than an operating room.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Naturally.
And they keep it that way.
And it stays that way. Wow. And the war you have with loss of bees is typically because you've got something that's moved in or been brought in that's trying to change the cleanliness in that colony. And so a lot of times bees will leave their box because they've got a beetle that went in there and took a poop.
Yeah, that's yes.
And they can't clean it anymore.
And you have to go in there and figure out why.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then do something
and
about
then
that
try
problem.
to fix it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest, migratory keepers bring in millions of pests that hurt bees. And if they come through and we don't have a problem, and then they go on to Florida, they go on to North Dakota, they left that problem
migratory keepers
behind.
are bringing in millions of pests. Like they bring in like beetles with them and stuff.
And,
All
it's not,
kinds
and
of
that's
things.
not even hurting the local bees. It's hurting our ecology.
Hey, our ecology here
Yeah,
locally,
wow.
because
And then they sell it to Walmart and they cut it with corn syrup.
right.
I guess I don't know. I don't know about it. It's a mystery to me.
If they don't cut it, then they'll at least heat it and pasteurize it, where all of the good things that are in honey are no longer good.
I thought that honey
cleaner.
by nature is like the most safe natural substance there is, and it doesn't go bad. Why would you ever need to pasteurize it?
Well, because you have taught people that it's supposed to be this thin or this thick and be this color.
If they look
And
at
tastes
the honey,
like this.
Well, like the mesquite honey is clear.
Yeah.
Like somebody at the store would be like, "Oh, that looks weird."
That looks like Cairo syrup. I'm not going to buy that. When the truth
Yeah,
is, it's
yeah.
not. It's pure honey.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And so that's what happened is in 1920s, 1915, somewhere in there,
Commercialization
the
and
clover honey
marketing.
market, like the cotton market, decided we're going to be America's name brand.
The honey bear.
So
Everybody
clover
wants-
honey is
yeah.
that
Clover
that,
honey is
that honey
is
color.
that is a clear.
It's like golden.
It's,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like-
light caramel, light yellow.
Clover honey.
That's clover honey.
So other honeys are different. Are there any purple honeys or anything like that?
No, there were some red honeys, but they found that next to the M&M factory.
I've seen those.
What? They found them next to the M&M factory?
Yeah, because they were throwing away the red M&Ms because they weren't any good, and the bees were eating the candy, the sugar off of the candy.
No way.
And carried the red
wanna try-
dye number 5 back into the hive, and it's
I
red honey.
want to try
Yeah.
that honey. Yeah.
Or you
That's
can put a hive next to a snow cone machine. You get some crazy things. I mean, that's
That
just
is really cool.
sugar, sugar.
That is really cool. Yeah, sugar is sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the other products? Because we're talking about honey a lot,
Right.
But now in today's market, with everyone doing all this natural
balm.
stuff, we have like
We
Burt's
make lip balm.
Bees lip balm.
Yeah.
And then there's also royal honey and jelly. And
royal jelly, right?
What is wait, royal honey? Okay,
royal jelly.
Okay. Royal jelly, yeah.
Jelly.
So what are the uses for all these things? Like what do you get out of bees?
Bees take 4 things into the hive: nectar, pollen, water, and resin to make propolis.
What's propolis?
Propolis is a glue or
is it like the wax?
No, wax is something they actually secrete.
Okay.
But propolis is used in the hive because the bees live on vibration and smell. And so when bee number 312 is over in the corner, vibrating in a particular manner, trying to communicate to bee number 737 on the opposite corner, because the hive is glued together, that vibration travels through the entire box.
Wow.
And they can feel it.
And they can feel it.
Isn't that was the thing I saw in like a documentary where they all vibrate and they heat it up during the winter.
That's correct.
They'll heat up their own
They
hive.
actually heat up their own hive and keep it warm. But so propolis, it also is a very good antifungal, antibacterial product. And so you can use propolis in lots of ways. If you guys have ever had chloroseptic for a sore throat, you can take propolis, put it in Everclear, make a tincture out of it.
Oh, wow.
Put that in the back of your throat, and it literally will eliminate strep throat in a matter of hours. Because propolis.
How come we don't? How come
because
we didn't
there's
know
no
about
money.
that?
The AMA can't make any money on it.
No, it's free. Or, well, I mean, technically, it's free if you have a bee box.
How come we don't know about that?
Well, it's because the AMA didn't approve it.
Wow.
Just like they didn't approve having honey to natural allergy.
Sure.
I mean, how many allergists are you going to put out of business when you go, oh, just go have a jar of honey?
Well, Zyrtec would get put it. Zyrtec's
It'd be
going
zero.
out.
Claritin would be, I mean, it'd be gone.
Yeah.
But so part of the problem that we have is a lot of the bee research is actually done in other parts of the world rather than America because the AMA has control.
There's a lot of hurdles, yeah. So you have your propolis. That's one thing. What's royal jelly for?
Royal jelly is a product that is used to actually start bee life.
Okay.
They lay an egg in a cell. It's an insect, so it lays an egg. 3 days that egg hatches. They feed that egg royal jelly for the first 3 or 4 days. They're using it now in STEM research because something about
royal jelly. Is it like a super nutrient?
It's like a starter
thing?
It's something in our bodies. If you think about, we all start off as cells. Well, cell number 12 became your heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Something causes that to occur. And that's what, in bees, that's what that is royal jelly.
Okay. So
they're
like
using royal jelly
yeah.
to start stem cells and to feed and develop stem cell research. It's incredible.
Do you provide that?
I
to
don't.
Those studies?
That's, I don't.
They probably get that from
royal jelly is difficult to harvest.
You probably have to destroy things.
You have to destroy the queen's cell in order to do that, and so you grow queens, and use a hypodermic needle to extract royal jelly because that's where you're going to find the largest quantity.
Right.
And when you do that, that queen dies.
Very little.
Very
amounts.
little. Yeah. Very micro. A drop or two in every. And then, but. They use it in some cosmetics. It helps with aging.
Yeah.
It helps with.
Very expensive.
Sounds like it.
It is.
Sounds like
a
pretty
milliliter.
intense.
Like it's probably $30 a
milliliter. I think probably pure in America, you're looking at $700 an ounce.
Oh.
And that's the reason why China is probably the largest producer of royal jelly.
Wow.
But to get it here in America, of course, you have to irradiate it. Well, who knows what irradiation does to it?
Sure. Yeah. How big of an issue is Chinese honey?
It's
your
about
day-to-day
60% of our our
It's about 60% of.
So we're selling
U.S.'s market.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're selling royal natural honey, raw honey here, at $2, $2.15 a pound. I can buy Chinese honey every day of the week for 35-40 cents a pound. So it's very difficult to make a living.
Yeah. How do you compete against that?
Yeah. And
but in China though, they're having to hand brush crops themselves.
There are valleys that they've destroyed.
How do they even have bees?
Are bees are the native species of Europe?
Europe,
where they're
Africa,
from.
and
Europe
and Africa.
Eurasia.
Yeah, the Mesopotamia area is what you would consider the original.
From.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And they've had bees in China for hundreds of thousands of years as well. But so royal jelly, you can do the wax. You mentioned lip balm. We make lip balm on our farm. Our daughter is trying to get involved in the business. She's in the Army right now. She's in South Carolina. So we send her all of the stuff, and she sends us back lip balm. And we sell it here.
That's pretty cool.
But you make candles with it. It cleans the air. My wife uses beeswax to make handmade soaps.
Okay.
Incredibly
he's into handmade
incredible
soap
product. I mean, it really did.
A lot of people don't know that I'm a master soap.
I've been washing my body with your soap for a long time.
For a long time, does a good job.
Yeah.
You can use they've got Propolis in research on colon and prostate cancer.
Oh, really? Wow.
Something about it cleans your gut out and keeps you from developing those cancers. They've shown that it actually stops the cancers once it grows. It won't kill the cancer, but it slows it down to the point that maybe you have a chance of getting it taken care of.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of, it's just amazing.
That's really weird. That doesn't even sit in my brain in a certain way, because to me, I think that cancer eats glucose to propagate, and honey is glucose.
But not propolis.
Propolis
is actually made in the bee's hive, and they collect the particles to make it with, and then they'll blend it. And
so is propolis like a liquid that is it like
it's a resin and pieces of wood, and it's a manufactured product that they've actually put together.
It's the whole idea of taking the allergies for the allergies, where they basically gather like everything, and they give you a concentrated dose of everything in the area, and that's what honey does, and that's everything that comes from these animals is like that, because they live there. They're collecting everything, and it's like, hey, here's your environment.
Yes,
and for your body
in a certain radius, right?
And within 3 miles.
Yeah.
3 miles.
Or within a floral region. I mean, you can also use the same, because you have tulips over here, you're going to have tulips over there, and if you're allergic to tulips, you're going to have the same reaction.
Well, let's take a little break. We'll regroup. Come back on the second half.
Okay.
Sure. All right.
Because I got to use the bathroom.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, you know what time it is. It is the middle of our episode. We usually use this to have a sponsorship or something like that, but we also highlight community events and try to do good out there.
Yeah.
And since
A to Z D&D.
Yeah, since okay, this is kind of topical, and with everything going on, we figured we would use this portion to highlight a very special community event that's going on. It is the Juneteenth Celebration, and it is being held by the Beaumont chapter of
the NAACP.
The NAACP, you know?
Yeah.
Tell them about that, Zach.
It's on June 19th. The truth behind Juneteenth, our Independence Day. Stand with us to celebrate. It's going to be on Friday, June 19th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at MLK Park on College Street. I think it's near downtown.
I think it's the one beside the Basilica, a little tiny park.
Yeah, they're going to have powerful speakers, great music, awesome food, and they're always looking for volunteers. So if you call the local NAACP chapter, it's 409-842-0294. That's 409-842-0294 to volunteer your time and assist in this great event, especially in the times that we're in.
And it doesn't really matter who you are or what you look like or who you might want to kiss or anything like that. They are looking for volunteers, and if you're upset about things going on and you want to affect real change on your community level, which is basically the only thing you can, try volunteering for these guys. I'm sure that everybody would really appreciate it, and it's just a good cause, you know what I mean? Let's try to help move things forward and not back, right?
That's it. And back to the episode talking about bees with Mr. Brian Muldrow. Natural, like local plants, because that's a cool idea, because if you can figure out a way to pitch it or to sell it, is because a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know anything about I didn't know that bees are unnatural and they push out local pollinators, and it's such a cool thing because people would love to know that. It's like, no, this isn't for the bees, this is for our pollinators, because the bees are doing okay, y'all. We need to help out the other ones, and so the bees, we don't have to worry about the bees.
Right, you're not changing the cycle. Yeah, you're adding
and we're bringing it back natural.
Right,
and we can learn a way, and maybe even set, like what Bee City is doing, maybe even set an example for, look how cool this can be, and other people will see it, and it would increase that.
Right.
And I love that. So I have your contact stuff, and we're gonna have to work together in the future for sure. Because that's too cool an idea to not try to do something with, and it doesn't really cost anything.
Right.
It costs labor and maybe some time, and you probably would know all the plants that we need to put there.
If I don't, Bee City does. We work with a lot of master gardeners in the area and that kind of thing.
Is Bee City a company, would they figure out a way of funding it and everything like that?
I don't know.
They'd be able to connect.
They got bigger pockets than I've got. I mean, we got lots of the moneyed people in Beaumont there.
Yeah, I think, because I was thinking about it, because Because like all the cool things that have happened in Beaumont in history have been funded by people like Julie Rogers and people like Betty Greenberg and people like that.
Right.
And
the patrons.
It seems like there's been a dip in the last century since that time to where like the people with the money aren't spending it there because there aren't people like us telling them where to put it. And I think if we start telling them where they need to put their money, they will. We just gotta put a plan together.
Yep.
Well, we're back, man. We're back.
Cool.
What? I walked through the store. What did we decide on?
I was honestly asking about how you would get your start. Like, say, if you wanted to do your own beekeeping or dabble, or say you got a big piece of property, a back 40 or something like that, and you wanted to take advantage of your space. Yeah,
because it's a specific box. You see the same white box everywhere.
That's because in 1865, there was a beekeeper named Langstreth. And he studied bees for 30 years prior to 1965 and decided on what would work best for him.
For a manufactured box.
And so he patented his design.
And that's the one?
Sold all of his bees and went and bought a lumberyard. And that's the one we have today.
It's so
the Langstreth hive is an American product.
And it's the same one, and it's the one. It's
the one you see everywhere. Now, there's a few new ones out there, and as the world has kind of grown, we've seen some other stuff.
There was that Kickstarter for the Flow Hive that came up. And
weird question.
Okay.
Are there any people out there doing like artisan boxes, like unnatural, like using an unnatural thing to make a box, like an old truck or something like that?
Yeah, there are all kinds of things out. I mean, I've got some trees that we take, and you cut they're taking the tree down, so you cut the top of the hive off, you cut the bottom of the hive, and you bring that log, so you can put bees in that log as long as you can examine them. So there's all kinds of crazy, there's all kinds of things you can do.
Have you seen the one where, I saw the one it's almost like a display, and it's in sections of hexagonal sections. You could put it on your wall like a painting.
Right.
And then you can actually modularly build it off and tube it to outside your house.
Right. I've seen that. I have not seen one operating yet. One of the things that they did think about is that bees' hive live in the dark.
Okay, yeah.
So even though you have this picture on your wall, it's going to have to be covered.
Yeah.
95% of the
that
time.
Makes sense.
Or they won't even go in
because they won't stay if they don't. Yeah, they have to, the hive is in the dark.
It looks like an ant farm type of deal.
Yeah. Well, see, ants are different in that fact that they can
You're just gonna
they
get
can
wasps.
live in the light, but bees won't. Bees will abandon the light box.
So these people are getting this, and they're just gonna get wasps.
It's so crazy that they don't they get all of their livelihood, I guess you could say, from things that depend on the sun, and they don't like the sun.
Yeah, they work in the sun.
work.
They have 5 eyes. They have 3 ocelli on top of their head, which tells them it's almost daylight or sun's going down.
And that's when they go home.
And that's what they're doing. But,
wow.
but they work in the dark in the box.
So if somebody has to buy one of those boxes, I guess.
You don't have to. You ought to buy something to keep the bees in. I've caught swarms in a cardboard box or a 5-gallon bucket and taken them home. So you can catch them anywhere.
A whole swarm?
Oh, yeah. You can catch them in anything, but as you guys understand our climate, a cardboard box is not going to last very long.
No, not really. Yeah.
So you're going to look for some sort of a structure to put them in.
So that's a patented design. Can you just build your own?
Oh, yeah. The plans are everywhere. You can do a top bar hive. You can do a ware hive. There's several out there.
Yeah.
So you can build your own.
If you caught a swarm in a cardboard box and brought it home, since they're bees, they would just kind of do their thing, and they would make that cardboard.
They until the cardboard disintegrated, they would work right there. If you left them in there,
if you left them there, okay.
What does it feel like to hold a swarm of bees in a box? Is it just buzzing?
For me, it's nothing because it just vibrates.
Yeah.
But to stand in a swarm is still amazing today.
30 years, you're still
50 years.
50 years, and you're still
55 years.
Yes, since you were 6, and you still get a kick out of it.
I do. The swarms. I mean, it's like it would be like standing in the middle of a tornado that wouldn't kill you.
But it could kill you, though.
But a tornado can.
Yeah.
But a swarm can, but it doesn't.
But it doesn't. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
It's one of those things. The hair a little bit.
Oh, it does. I've been through 2 hurricanes on a sailboat.
Yeah.
And so
you sail on the side. That's how you get your kicks.
That was my 40s. You said my rebellious part of my world.
Your midlife crisis was sailboating.
Yeah, I spent 10 years on a sailboat, but I've been through 2 hurricanes on it. So some things in your life that you do, you never want to do again. Like I would never go back and do that on purpose because I'm alive today. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it's swarming today. Even today, when you watch your hive swarm, you're standing in front of your box. It is an incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. It's a God moment. It's what I call a God moment.
Yeah.
They move like a wave. They move like a wave through the sky. It's very interesting.
They can. They're very directional. Typically, a swarm if it's leaving the box, moves 30 or 40 feet away is all it'll go the first day. And then as that queen gets her flight wings back, they'll then go a quarter of a mile to a half a mile at a time until they find a new home.
Oh, right.
So typically when they're moving, they know we're going from this address to that address. So even though it's in a direction,
because they send the guy out to find it.
They're always looking for a new home, right? And they actually vote. They're just like Americans. You know,
they vote.
60% of the hive goes, we're going to go live at that place.
Do they ever split?
The swarm won't split again, typically, no.
All right, they'll just die.
Now, sometimes you'll have a swarm that's got a couple of queens in it, a virgin queen and a mated queen, and they may go that way. But almost always the swarm will stay because they recognize how vulnerable they are with no home.
Okay, so you catch a swarm of bees in a cardboard box.
Right.
And then what you do is you put that box down 30 feet near an empty hive box.
You just pour it into your box.
Oh, you just pour it.
You pour it.
You didn't know that bees are a liquid. You just shake the box into your hive. Yeah.
And that's how you would get started. That's the easy way to get started.
Do you wear the full get-up doing this? Like
you don't have to for a swarm, but you can.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot of modern beekeepers don't use the suit at all anymore.
A lot of them wear just a hat.
Just a hat?
Typically.
You don't want it to poke you in the eye or something.
Well, it hurts.
In your face.
It hurts.
Yeah.
The ears, the nose, the lips.
Probably right here.
I don't know what these things are called, vertical frontals. They hurt. They hurt really bad.
I bet, yeah. Get swole up.
I've been stung between the eyes.
I can imagine many times. Nose. You get like a little pimple
in the ear
sometimes, and it hurts.
Yeah.
I still remember one of my first vivid memories I ever had was getting. It was probably a wasp, but it was like a bee sting.
I remember a bee sting memory.
And Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I ran and cried, and my grandma like took out tobacco and chewed on it.
That's what you do, right?
Yeah, spit on it. Right. It pulls the poison out.
Yeah, she took out tobacco and chewed on it and then put it on there.
Yeah, it pulls the poison.
And it hurt worse than the bee sting. I was like, this sucks.
That's probably a wasp.
Yeah, it was probably a wasp. Yeah.
So it doesn't work for wasps, the tobacco?
It all works. It's just a matter of how much you get out and what you're doing.
So I have a super important question that I'm sure all of our viewers would want to know. How accurate was Bee Movie, Jerry Seinfeld's movie?
The animated version?
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Pretty close,
Pretty close, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, pretty close.
I know a bit about that movie. It's pretty interesting,
Queen of the Sun is an excellent movie out there. You can get it on Netflix. We just did, the Bee City just did another movie a month ago over in the Jefferson Theater.
Really? We're doing shows with them?
They did it in February. They just did one.
Oh, good.
Okay. It was more about pollinators than it was
more
bees.
like a showing than a
But it was a movie showing, yeah. And they did, but we do one every year, February or so. We'll sponsor a night at the Jefferson.
Well, we got to do Bee Movie then.
And on Wednesday night, but it was a lot of fun. But if you want to start, there's lots of ways to do that. But a swarm is an easy catch. We'll sell you a nuke to get started.
What's a nuke?
A nuke is short for nucleus. It's 5 frames of bees with a queen.
With a queen.
You take that 5 frames home and they'll grow.
You put that in your box.
And develop.
So you have to get a box and then you have to get some bees and you can buy that direct from you. How much does a nuke cost?
A nuke's $160 this year.
That's about right. I would say
that's fair.
The amount of work to keep it and to put it together and to catch it is probably definitely
that's a fair value. We're probably a little bit cheaper than everybody else because
just like your honey.
We're not in the business to.
Y'all ain't trying to get rich.
Well, we don't need to. We have a great life. Yeah. We don't need to be rich. We have been rich before. My wife will tell you, we've been through $12 million once already. We don't need to do it again.
I mean, I see that work truck you got out there. Like
it's got 400,000 miles on it. It still runs. I don't care.
I looked down there and he was getting out, and it was just going. I was like, that's a work truck.
I love that.
It's time for lifters or a new engine. But it's going to be fine. But. Some of the cities, I say some, there's only 2 that I know of in our area. Beaumont does not have any rules.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask.
Nederland has rules, and Viter has rules.
But it's like if you put a beehive in your backyard and then a kid in your neighborhood has a bee allergy and then they get stung and die, like does that come back on you? Well, they got to prove that's your bee, but is that a thing that happens?
I think that's what we would call an act of nature. And because bees are there anyway.
Yeah.
I think that you guys know, you've got lawyers that can prove
anything.
Sure, the DNA. Sure. I can show the DNA came from your box.
Sure, yeah. But we all know that it's really wasps that are out there stinging people.
Wasps are really assholes.
Right,
they really are. They're tough. Yeah, and that's one of the neat things about bees. Yeah. If you think about nature, bees are the only insect in nature out of the 40 million species that do not do any damage to their environment.
Wow.
They don't predate on anything. They don't tear up anything.
They just gather.
Like
they don't destroy anything.
Yeah.
Everything they do,
they keep to themselves and they spread pollen.
Is designed to protect themselves and to encourage and enrichen their life.
Yeah.
They don't do any. Wasps.
So you're saying you live like a bee? Then.
Wasps are meat eaters.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
What?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wasps eat other insects.
They're carnivores.
They're carnivores. Yeah. And so.
That's why they're jerks, man.
Yeah.
They're aggressive by nature.
They look badass.
They're good in some ways. You know, the red wasp eats the webworms that grow in mulberry trees.
Yeah.
So you don't want to kill your red wasp, but the yellow jackets.
Also there's wasps that are involved with fig production.
Oh,
right?
you have to have a wasp in a fig to have a fig.
Yeah.
So when you're eating fig Newtons, you're eating bugs.
You're eating a wasp, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're going to eat bugs eventually.
We all are eventually.
I have cricket flour in my pantry at home. It's actually way better protein. Yeah.
That's cool.
I make pancakes out of it.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Put some honey on it.
Instead of syrup.
Yeah.
So you want
you're going to bring a box home. You're going to pour your bees out there. For space, you need 10 square feet.
Okay.
No, how hard is it to maintain that though? You know,
you're going to want to
for a
work.
beginner.
If you're going to.
What is the work?
If you're going to work bees, up to about 10 hives, you're looking at a few hours on every third Saturday.
So a few hours once a month.
Few hours, a little more than once a month, but not more than 21 days.
You got to check in on them.
What is the work?
You're going to look and see, make sure everything's healthy. You're going to make sure the space is correct. You're going to make sure that they don't need anything. They don't need to go bigger box, smaller box, because in our current environment, space is a factor. And it works on the old church rule where if you get 80% full, you're not going to grow anymore. If you get less than 20% full, you're going to die.
Okay.
So you're maintaining that space ratio.
So do you pull
between
out
80-20? You pull out frames, move
so
brood around, add slots. You're going to manipulate that box.
I've never actually seen the inside of a box. So it's like a panel that they build their hive into, and then you can pull those and remove
those out. Right. Next time we do this, I'll bring a hive.
Oh yeah.
I'll bring the box so you guys can see what the box looks like. So that way you'll know more about what we're talking about.
We'll have to come out to your farm.
We'd love to.
I've just seen some video.
I've seen them smoke the bees.
I want a full costume though. I don't want just a head. I'm scared of them.
I understand. It's okay to be scared.
I'm not allergic, but
it's okay to be scared.
I don't like pain. I don't like being hurt.
Honestly, if you're not scared, you're just stupid.
You're crazy.
Because they can hurt you. I mean,
for sure.
I was under a house a couple of years ago, and the hive was on the floor.
You go and get them.
And I crawled underneath the house. And the bees were falling off the combs. So every time I would roll or twist, or I might get stung again. You know, I take 500 stings, and you're under a house, and you're the only one there. And to get out, you're going to take another 200 stings. You know, so you can be.
Is that another thing you do? Is relocate?
We do lots of removals.
You do like gator country and gators.
We do.
You just go get bee.
This day and age,
and you can make money from them.
Yes, this day and age, we do a lot of referrals to our friends because part of our main goal has been education. We teach at AgriLife. We teach everywhere that we can. And we teach at St. Anne's. We teach kids. We teach grown-ups. Because our goal is to increase beekeeping.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you want more local beekeepers? Yes,
we need. I tell the story. We have 180,000 hives last year and fixing to be here now.
In Southeast Texas.
In Southeast Texas. So I need everybody that hears my voice to become a beekeeper.
At least 100 people, I think we can get.
If we get 100 people, everybody needs 1,800 hives. Okay. And we're covered. Or I got to find 18,000 people that all want 10.
Yeah. I just want one.
And that's okay, too. Because every one we get helps us have a better local ecology.
So let's say as a beginner, let's say I want to go out and I want to get one box. I want to get one hive and I want to get a nuke. What would I get out of that? Like, what would my yield be, if anything at all? And then,
my dad would tell you that the first year you pay for the bees.
Okay.
The second year they're going to pay you back. So if you do a good job, next year you're going to make your $150 back in honey.
Oh, very. So it makes that much honey.
And then the third year,
I mean, what are we talking about?
Is what Americans call profit.
Yeah. What are like ounce wise? Like
average hive in our area is about 80, 90 pounds of honey.
Yeah, you
measure honey in pounds.
I had so many pancakes with honey on them. Yes. So many cricket pancakes with honey on them.
That would be you're looking at a 5-gallon bucket is about 60 pounds.
5 gallons. So it's like
you're looking
like
at 8 or 9 gallons of honey.
Holy
minimum.
I've said holy shit several times on this podcast, and I'm gonna keep saying it because you just keep blowing my mind. Dude.
But that's not. We do a little bit better job because we maintain our hives pretty tight.
Yeah, so you have the.
But
really
it's our
economic.
business, so I have to.
It's really
every penny counts.
An amateur would probably.
That's what I was asking for a beginner. You know,
6.
It's easy to get 8 gallons.
Yeah,
it's
but
easy.
You could probably pull 12.
Well, we pull. Our average last year is 160 pounds a hive.
Wow.
So it's just, and we sell every ounce we can make locally.
Yeah.
Do you sell them as like your own brand, or do you sell them to companies?
It's Muldrow Bee Farm, and right now we wholesale to 10 or 15, 18 locations
every year.
Everything I can make.
That's great.
That's
so great.
And so
y'all are in M&D, aren't y'all?
Yes, we are.
That's the one.
Yeah,
okay.
M&D.
I used to buy that when I was
Travis Hardware over on Washington Street, Greenlight Kitchen downtown.
Okay. Maybe you should provide some to the Avenue or something. You know,
they have some.
They do. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Are you in like local restaurants? You know, like
the Gather Girls down the Gather Kitchen. They use our honey in the kitchen as well as sell off the shelf.
That's great.
Groves Cafe, Down to Earth. I mean, we're all over the area, and that's all we want to do. I don't want to put a barrel in it and send it to South Carolina.
Keep it here because you care about the medicinal benefits.
Here. I care about here.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be migratory, right? That's the whole thing.
I don't want to travel. I don't want my honey to travel. If I were making, 1,000 barrels a month or 1,000, and I couldn't sell it, then that would be something I'd have to look at. But until I get to where I'm making more than I can sell, there's no reason for me to do it any different.
And you're not going to do that.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
on purpose.
I can appreciate a person that has a value system outside of just the monetary.
I love
that.
Yeah. The bees. You hear out there on the internet, without the bees, we're going to starve to death.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's actually true.
No?
It might be.
You made me realize we put too much importance on bees being pollinators, and we're killing our local pollinators.
But there's not a whole lot of food that we eat that was here naturally.
Yeah.
So, you're going to eat a lot of figs.
Yeah.
I think that what we would see is a change in diet because we'll have a lot more rice.
Is rice?
Rice is wind pollinated, so the wind pollination is going to take over, so you're not going to have any more wheat or corn.
Right.
So salsa and chips are going to be a no,
Which reinforces the idea that China is going to take over like Blade Runner,
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not going to live in a world without chips and salsa.
I'm not either.
I'm not going to live in that world. Because,
I hate the fact that GMO corn is out there, but I do love chips and salsa.
Peppers and tomatoes are not wind pollinated.
No.
They're pollinated.
Right, and that's part of the problem that China has.
That's why peppers make your other things taste different, right? Because they pollinate each other.
Because they pollinate each other. They carry that pollen from A to B.
That's why if you plant
so your banana peppers can get hot because you've got.
I'm planning. I have 40 seedlings right now that I'm planning on doing experiment. I want habanero poblanos is what I'm going for with one of them.
Yeah, you have to alternate them.
I'm gonna do a bunch of different ones, but so the tree pollen getting on them isn't gonna hurt them then.
Not at all.
Okay,
no,
good.
It's not.
That's just like having. Cats and dogs
I've been messaging Desiree Klapis and probably annoying her because I'm just asking, what are these bumps on it? Why is it doing that?
Desiree's a great lady. She actually she's one of our early students.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I love her.
She teaches gardening classes.
Field garden classes.
She's Mid-County Victory Garden.
Incredible, man, incredible teaching.
Well, it's. I love that we brought you on, and I've met you before when I worked at the Logon, but I never, and it makes sense because somebody who wants to run an association and teach people how to do things are usually people who are very passionate and believe in what they're doing.
Yes,
and it makes me so happy that you are just like us. And just like Desiree and everybody, we are people who are we don't do this we don't make money doing this.
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
We do it because we want to meet people like you in our community and spread the word of all the there's so many people doing these amazing things. Your thing just happens to be bee. We end up talking to people.
That's how I met David Poole, how I met Desiree, how I met Sharon at the Giving Field.
Yeah.
All these people we all have our little niche. Wild Earth Texas is another one.
Yeah, we talked to her too.
She
is. Yeah. Rachel's amazing.
Rachel came. We met Rachel because she wanted to do bees, and then she had to take over part of the ranching, so she didn't have time for bees anymore. So we're out there, but we have hives out at her place.
Now I gotta start a bee. Now I gotta have a bee box.
Yeah,
I started gardening. Now I gotta do bees.
So the other neat thing that we do at our farm is that we have what's called bees for borrow, and that is that if we have bees, you want bees in your yard, we'll put 5 hives down. And we'll work those hives. And you want one of them, you can buy one of them. Right?
Yeah.
Hive number 5 is yours. And every time we're there, you can come work all 5 with us. So you learn how to keep bees.
Okay, so
owning
is it
one.
5? Is it? Can you limit it?
We run.
Can I do that?
We run a minimum of 5 because of the time.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best way.
I need to talk to
and
my
then
landlady.
let's say that you go, hey, I've got this figured out. Can I buy another one? I'll pick my box up, and now you have 2 and I have 3.
So you don't even have to buy the nuke. You can just like
we'll start you. You have to buy something.
What does that run?
We put Bees for Borrow down for free.
Yeah.
But if you want to be involved in learning, then you're going to buy your way in.
Yeah.
Or if you always just want one, then we'll keep our 4 there. It doesn't matter to us.
And I own this one, and y'all, so y'all get all the honey from this one,
and that one's yours.
And then y'all can help. Y'all would come in and help us maintain it.
Oh yeah,
we'll
show you. We'll teach you how. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like you'll carry it for us, but like whenever you're here checking on yours, and be like, hey man, can you look at this? Because they're doing.
Or
this
you can
thing.
come learn with ours, so you know what to do for yours.
Wow.
But we do that, and that's where we started. The reason why we have gotten to where we are is because Tammy had 25 hives at our house at Park and MLK. And I go, this is the limit because they can't get enough forage more than about 25 or 30 hives. I said, so let's go talk to the master gardeners at Jefferson County and see if someone has an interest. I went and gave a speech down there, and then I had 40 yards that wanted a hive, and I only had 25 hives. And that's how our business has grown. We now have 57 yards.
Really? With at least 5 hives?
With at least... So some of them are 30s. I mean, they're all
that's
varied.
300 hives. That's knocking that number down.
Yeah. So we're making progress on what we're doing. But the reality for us is I have yards where Melody Weaver had hives from us. So now she has her own hives there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we moved out of her area, so her bees will survive.
Yeah.
So how would someone get in contact with you if they wanted to do that?
Well, we're all over Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. That's the easiest way to find us on Facebook. Muldrow. Just type in Muldrow and pick. All 4 of us are on Facebook, and you can get a hold of any one of us. My phone number is on there.
Okay.
Under Brian.
What is it?
713-377-0356.
I'll have it on the bottom of the screen when you say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and we've argued.
Can you also get your products that way too?
We try not to do out of the house anymore.
You just
it's
out of
a pain in the
ass.
Yeah.
It's not really a pain. I have an honor. I tell you, the honor box. Everybody remembers honor boxes at our grandparents' house.
Yeah.
Where the squash was in there, and you could go buy and just
put the
$2
money
and pick up. We have an honor box in our driveway.
Okay, so you still take honey and then leave the money for it.
That's exactly right. Just call me. I need 2 quarts. Come by and pick it up.
Do you accept like Venmo or electronic payment too?
We got credit cards. Okay. I don't do Bitcoin yet. I'd love to.
Yeah. I just saw
Bitcoin's coming. I would love for Bitcoin to be really
Bitcoin. Where was I? It was a grocery store or something in town, and they had a Bitcoin.
It's probably.
It was a Bitcoin ATM. No, it was a corner of Lucas and the highway. They have a Bitcoin ATM there.
I think that
I
that's
was really surprised. Yeah.
One of the neat things about our world is that if they ever quit or able to control our currency, they're going to lose control of the population. And Bitcoin may be the start of that.
I don't know. That's fine if we do it too. Yeah.
You've said some things that make me that tell me that about theories and things that we also do, and that's really cool. You're pretty cool dude, Brian.
We're trying really hard to figure things the right way.
Yeah.
But freedom is free until you don't like what somebody else does.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think we're like spirits, I think, in here.
I think so. Well, you know what?
Brian, thanks.
Go ahead.
You have another question? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to thank you, man. I was going to thank you for everything you do for our community.
Anytime I can, guys, I'll do anywhere we can.
Thank you for educating us and our viewers and
you've
telling them,
blown my mind literally more times than I can count.
Telling them how they can get involved. You know what I mean? I love the borrow. I love that program.
Bees for Borrows. It is our product.
Yeah.
I mean, we started that years ago.
After we shut these cameras off, we're going to talk because I need to get permission from my landlady, but we're going to talk.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah.
That's neat. I'm glad to hear it.
It's been great, man.
You have a big yard too, don't you?
I have a very big yard with lots of green space around in my neighborhood.
It just takes 10 square feet. That's all it takes.
Because I have the railroad that goes really close,
right?
And that's just a giant greenway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're gonna get you some boxes.
That's great.
So there's all that stuff, and man, just thanks for coming on.
Anytime,
I have a pint in my shelf. I was gonna try to make some meat out of it, but I'm just gonna eat it. It's gonna
might
be
as
fine.
well. It won't hurt.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man. But
Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on,
Thanks.
and we'll share all your links and everything.
Okay.
This has been A to Z.
All right, great.
We really appreciate you for joining us on another episode of A to Z. I hope that you learned something new. We'd like to give a special thanks to Brian and everybody over there at Muldrow's. Thanks for teaching our community. Thanks for just like spreading a lot of the information.
Call them up. Go visit them. Go check out their bees. Get yourself a bees for borrowing box. You know.
That's it. That's really cool. I think we're gonna do that.
Yeah, help us run out the manufactured bee bullshit honey.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know wherever you're viewing this if you learned something or if you got some good information out of this.
Yeah. And we want to do a special shout out to our patrons: Jordan Stringer, Lance Killian, Brian Casino, Doug Waldrop, Michael Saar, Ben McClellan, Randy Edwards, Allie Gillette, Allison Pierce, Lauren Beebu, Allie B, Jay Wesley Harden, Jacqueline Stockdale, and Hannah McMahon.
What?
Not to mention all the people that donated for the fundraiser.
What?
Jeez.
That's so many people. That's so many people. We're
feeling so much love.
Yeah, our eternal thanks to you guys, and just for listening and just helping this thing grow and being a part of our community and allowing us in your vehicles and your homes just so you can listen to our dumb voices.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you think about it like that. Yeah. Anyway, next episode on 106 we have Richard Talent. He is a photographer, and we get into so many things. We get into his practices, his techniques, and then we also get into kind of a censorship.
Because he does nude fine art photography.
And I really enjoyed it, and I know you guys are too, so make sure you come back and listen to us next time. But, this is another one in the can. Thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate you. Holla at your boys, like, share, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Tell your mama and them.
The next one's
and we got some stickers. If you see me and Zach out there in the streets, out there in the wild,
have some stickers that we
got some stickers. We got all kinds of stuff coming out for you. So, get hype. Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Bye.